Hi Year 4!
Hello Year 4, lovely to see you, although we can't see you, but you can see us and we can imagine your lovely faces. We miss you loads.
We do.
We're in school this week looking after the key worker children. It's been nice, but not as nice as if you were here with us, but we will be back together soon when we can all be safe. And we're going to read chapter 12. Enjoy! Back in the harbour, the morning sun shone down on the river. Ships' horns rang out as they came into dock. Flags fluttered on their masts. Varjak and his friends walked down into the snowy yard. It felt like coming home. There were the brown buildings again, their windows lit with a cosy glow. There were the street cats, most of them still sleeping. Mrs. Mogg sat by the ship's anchor, old Buckley by her side. As soon as they saw Jess coming, they ran out to greet her. "My Jessie!" cried Mrs. Moggs. "They brought my Jessie back!" Her cry woke the yard. In moments the street cats were up and buzzing, eyes aglow. They did it! The word went round like wildfire. "Varjak's brought our Jessie back!" Up above, seagulls rose high on the river breeze. "What happened, my dears?" said Mrs. Moggs, licking Jess, comforting her. "They was about to rip my ears and tails off," breathed Jess. "I thought I was finished, but then Varjak rescued me." Old Buckley shook his head. "How? How could he do that?" "He fights like nothing you've ever seen, Buckley. Bam, bam, bam! He's even better than Sally Bones." "Then I owe you an apology, Mr. Varjak, said old Buckley. "I was wrong about you." His face broke out into the gladdest grin. Varjak felt so proud of that grin. "Well, it wasn't just me," he said. "It was all of us." "Varjak's got a gang now," said Jess. "Them two big cats, they're outlaws, but they're with us." "Pleased to meet you," said the horrible twins. Around them, snow was shimmering down from the sky, coating the yard in white. Varjak looked at Omar and Ozzy, at Holly and Tam, at Jess, and his skin tingled beneath his fur. "We've done it," he thought. "We've done the impossible." "We're lucky we got there in time," said Holly. "If Sally Bones had been there—" "You was clever going at dawn," said Mrs. Moggs. "Course she'll come back at us, you can depend on it. But we don't care, do we?" A defiant cheer rang round the yard. "Varjak told him," said Jess fiercely. "He told him. We're the Free Cats, and no one hurts Free Cats." "The Free Cats, eh?" said old Buckley. "It's a good name. We've never had a name before." "It's time that changed," said Mrs. Moggs. "From now on, no one can march in here and take us away, or steal our food. This'll be a free city for free cats." The Free Cats whooped. They started dancing in the snow, like these were the words they'd never dared to say aloud, but words they'd held secretly in their hearts for the longest time. And the way they were looking at Varjak, especially Mrs. Moggs and Jess, his heart was dancing too, for it filled him with a rush of pride that swirled inside him like snowflakes in the dark. "Tonight, let's forget them and their laws," cried Mrs. Moggs. "Let's eat like proper cats again." And they did. Through the day, as Varjak and his friends rested, the Free Cats went out into the harbour. Defying Sally Bones' laws, they returned with heaps of food, more than they could eat. They found no patrols out there, no sign of Sally Bones' gang. "They're scared of Varjak," some cats said. "They're biding their time," said others. No one knew for sure, but as evening fell, there was a feast in the harbour yard, greater than anyone could remember. The street cats sank their teeth into fresh fish from the river, the food they'd been denied for so long. There was a wild thrill in the air. The brown buildings were decked out with strings of coloured lights strung between the windows. The snow was shimmering down, light and powder white, and up above the yard all the stars were coming out. "This is delicious," said Holly, relishing the feast. "Best food we've had all winter," said Omar. "Right, little brother?" Said Ozzy, tucking into another juicy fish. "Why do you call him little brother?" said Jess. "He's bigger than you." "He's younger," said Omar. "I'm the older twin. I have to look after him. Don't I, Oz?" Ozzy smiled shyly, showing his gap-toothed grin. "Yup, I'd be lost without Omar telling me what to do all the time." Everyone laughed.
This is great, said Tam, licking her lips. "If only we had some mice for dessert." "We haven't seen a mouse all winter," said Omar. "You've got to be a fearless hunter to find one of them." Tam grinned. "Oh, I saw one a few days ago, didn't I, Varjak? Fearless Tam the Hunter, that's me. Varjak smiled, and Holly rolled her eyes. But Omar looked impressed. Would you come hunting with me, Fearless Tam? He said. Hunting? With you? Her chocolate brown eyes widened with alarm. But I'm not really fearless, I was just... Don't worry, said Omar. I'm useless. Everyone's good at different things, right? Me, I can fight the best out of them. But I never did get the hang of hunting. Tam giggled. But bet you I'm worse. Come on then. Let's look for some dessert. They headed together out of the yard, Tam's bushy tail swinging proudly behind her. Ozzy started to follow them. No, you wait here, little brother, said Omar over his shoulder, eyes flashing. I'll bring you something back. Ozzy blinked and stood there looking lost as his brother left the yard with Tam. What you standing there for? Said Jess, grabbing the giant. There's food to eat for once. She dragged Ozzy off to feast with the 3 cats, leaving Varjak alone with Holly by the back wall. Above their heads, fire escapes zigzagged up to the rooftops in the open sky beyond. Omar and Ozzy are funny, aren't they? Said Varjak. I'm glad they're on our side. We wouldn't have made it without them. It's not over yet, said Holly. It's great that the 3 cats are so happy. But what's going to happen when Sally Bones finds out? I don't believe she's scared, do you? Varjak glanced over at the 3 cats, celebrating in the snow. All they needed was for someone to stand up for them. And I can do that, he told himself. I can fight. My power's getting stronger all the time. Remember what Jess said? He's even better than Sally Bones. He flexed his paws with determination. We'll deal with that if we have to, he said. The main thing is, we saved Jess. And if we could do that, well, maybe we can do anything. Holly gazed up at the sky. So did Varjak. Once again, he thought how magical the city seemed in the snow and starlight. At that moment, Holly didn't look like the spiky cat he knew. The cat who'd seen too much of the world and had grown all gravely to protect herself. She looked like the kitten she must have been, full of mischief and tales and wild dreams. Do you really think so? She whispered, like she was daring herself to believe it. Something lit up in Varjak then, something bright and warm that shone through the winter night. It felt like a string of lights strung between the 2 windows, linking them together. It felt like whiskers of starlight, fine and strong between them. I think we could do anything we like, he said. You and me. She smiled. Well, there's no going back from here. You've started something big, and I'm with you all the way, whatever happens. She paused and looked down. But who knows what's going to happen? We might not be together so much. Varjak felt those whiskers of starlight touching somewhere deep inside him. It made him dizzy. I wouldn't, he started and stopped and tried again. Holly, I don't think any of this would make sense without you, he said. She nodded quietly. They spoke no more. There was no need. After a moment, she curled up beside him, placed a paw on top of his own, and closed her eyes as their tails twined together. Her breathing grew slow and steady. Her face looked so calm, so peaceful. He could feel her fur touching his black and white, mixing into silver blue. Slowly, his eyes closed, and his breathing dropped to match her own. They lay there like that, close and comfortable, the starlight strong between them, until they fell asleep. What a nice place to leave it at. I'm so glad that they've got Jess back.
Me too. And I nearly fell asleep at the end. Felt so comfortable with them.
Although there's still quite a lot of the story left, so I wonder if they're going to come across any other problems.
I think Sally Bone is not going to leave it there. She's not that kind of cat, is she?
Definitely not.
Can't wait to find out what happens next. Hope you're all well. We miss you. Bye.
Bye.